Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Masters of Marketing. Today we'll actually be discussing a little bit of a different approach than the other episodes. We'll be discussing why you should not actually hire a marketing agency and why you should invest the time and money into training someone internally for your business to handle your marketing efforts. Today we have an expert in the space. We have Joseph Hughes. He's the owner of Contractor Dymanics. He is teaching contracting companies how to bring their marketing efforts inside of their company so they have full control and maybe even better results. Joseph, my friend, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. Besides the fact that I'm episode 4, not episode 1, we
I
can talk about
know.
it, but
I'm
I'm doing well. Yeah.
so episode 1 actually went to the highest bidder. Okay, so you were lowballing me. You know, everybody's paying big money to get onto the masters of marketing, and you lowballed me, Joseph. So
Oh,
now you learned a lesson there.
all right. All right. Lesson learned. All right. Yeah, man. I'm excited to be here. You've got a great voice. I love your energy. I remember that from previous times we've been on together. And yeah, I'm excited to be here and just be transparent and share as much as I can to really help everyone make intelligent decisions about getting to that next level, whatever that means for
Mm.
them, right? So
And you've always been a small business guy, a family business guy. You grew up in the family business, right?
I did. I grew up, had the fortune of growing up in my family's business, which is 127 years old.
Wow.
They just recently started in 1894, just getting started. And yeah, I
Wow.
grew up as a sixth generation family member in that business. And yeah, it's awesome. We work with a lot of family businesses now, and I have I don't want to say I give those clients extra attention, but I get a little bit. I get more excited, or not more excited. There's a different level of
A
excitement, and
connection, a level of connection, I feel like. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because you've been there.
yeah, exactly.
So, Joseph, I'm pretty sure a high percentage of businesses actually shut down and close up within like 5 years. Your family run business it was what you say 127 years?
Hmm.
So, I mean, was there anything that you noticed of why the company was successful for so long? Because, I mean, I mean, if you looked at the odds of a company surviving that long, they're almost nothing, if I had to guess.
Yeah, seriously. Let's see, man. I mean, so many lessons. I learned a ton and worked in all different aspects of the business. And I guess one of the things I like to share is, so my cousin Brian and I are about the same age. We came into the family business about the same time as sixth generation family members. And so my dad and my two uncles are the owners, and they're the owners still today. And so Brian and I, fresh out of college, at 22 years old, thinking we know it all, we're smart. And not that we think we know it all, but we're just bringing all these new ideas like, hey guys, we should try doing this. We should expand here. There's an opportunity in this city and that sort of thing. And, we go in front of that. We'd have our meetings, weekly as a team, the 5 Hughes members in there. And the old guys, my dad and my uncles would be like, yeah, that's cool. But nah, we're just going to stick to this over here with, what we've already built out. And then, so there's a little frustration on the part of myself and my cousin. We'd be like, man, I thought that was a great idea. And we didn't know any better. But I guess, I illustrate that story to illustrate the point, or I share that story to illustrate the point that, they have a way of doing things, and they have a vision, and they have a system for how decisions are made. And they're not easily swayed by a shiny object or an opportunity that might not
Mm-hmm.
fit that vision. And I think that's a big part of it. As frustrating as it was as a new, hot shot coming into the business, like I wanted to implement, some different things. Like I guess as I've matured, I've realized the wisdom in their way of doing things.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I think that's awesome advice for, maybe younger entrepreneurs or maybe even just visionaries of all ages, right? That shiny object syndrome where it's so easy to get excited about some of these ideas, but if they have something that's working for a reason.
Yeah, we see it all the time, right? Whether it's in in Facebook groups or wherever it is, you see guys and owners and people chasing down like, hey, solar's right hot right now, or getting into
Hmm.
commercial, or like whatever that might be. And It's like, well, why do you want to do that? Does that fit within your vision, or do you even have a vision, or do you just see an opportunity to make a couple extra bucks and you're like, let me just put my business on hold and go pursue this other thing? And that's not, as a small business, we don't have, if we're talking, most companies are under $100 million a year, probably listening to this or watching this. Like, we don't have unlimited bandwidth to pursue everything. So focus is huge,
Yeah, no, I completely. And the thing is, especially if you have like a down year too, I think it's a little bit easier to just be like, all right, well, we're going to change everything. This isn't working. Let's change the game plan. And sometimes it's just say sticking to the game plan, maybe executing it a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, when we have a down period, I try to ask myself, be self-aware. Like, all right, well, what skills am I lacking? Because we're having a down period or a dip or whatever. What skills do I need to develop in our business model to get to that next level and break out of the slump? So that's what I try to focus on anyway.
Mm-hmm. Same here. So how did you get into marketing, Joseph?
So I left the family biz in 2012 and on good terms. Awesome opportunity, awesome business. They're still going very strong. They're growing like crazy, actually. I just had that entrepreneurial bug, and I think most people listening or watching will kind of resonate with what that is. I just wanted to go out and create something out of thin air on my own, and leverage the experience in the construction industry, leverage some relationships, and had an interest in marketing, a passion for it. And I saw the gap in marketing in the construction industry. Like, man, like there's some big, huge companies. There's a lot of small companies, but everyone's kind of a few years behind the times when it comes to just like general, best practices for technology, software, marketing, advertising, that sort of thing. So combined my passion for that, for solving that problem with my background in construction, and there you have Contractor Dynamics. So yeah, that was the genesis of it.
So you guys have been in business for like 8 years or something like that.
Yep,
8 years.
2013. So yeah, I guess finishing up maybe our 9th year.
Okay, so congrats on that. Nice work. So you've obviously taken a different approach, right? Because let's be honest, there's a lot of agencies out there that you can't really trust, right? Or there's a lot of people who have a bad taste in their mouth because they give thousands of dollars and it didn't turn anything. Now, when you started Contractor Dynamics, was that kind of always your idea to go into more of the coaching, consulting realm, or did you think about doing some of the marketing stuff? Did you guys do some of the marketing in the beginning, or what's the story there?
Yeah, so I'll share the story because it's a valuable lesson for anyone, and it's important. So, and I want to preface that by saying that I don't know the total this year, but I mean, I've blown probably 20 grand this year on marketers who just didn't deliver, or it just didn't work out, right? And so we're a marketing company, but like any company, like we hire freelancers from time to time. We hired someone to help out with like some YouTube ads and things like that. And I take extreme ownership as an owner, right? It didn't work out. I'm not blaming those guys. It just didn't work out for whatever reason. So those are lessons.
Why did it work out? Do you think it was a different business model than they're used to working with, or what do you think was some of the reasons why it didn't work out for you guys?
So all right, let me dig into that a little bit. So two guys in particular, it was so both ways, right? I take ownership. I'm not pushing the blame. However, they went at it with a straight up like tactical approach. Like, here's the messaging that I think is going to work. Or like they were saying, here's the messaging I think is going to work. Here's this funnel that I've used for this other, client, and not taking the time to really understand our market and like the message, like all the noise that's in our market, in the roofing industry, contracting industry, how to cut through that noise, how to not sound like everyone else. And they're just kind of went in with this like cookie cutter approach. And me being a business owner, I didn't take the time to say, hey dude, like let's pump the brakes for a little bit. I know that, that might have worked in some other industries, but we've been in this industry for 8-9 years. Like I have a good feeling of what's going to work. We need to dive more into the strategy and like what really gets our prospects to pay attention to our content and be like, yes, like, I talk to those guys. So it was a lack of like just that collaboration. Really, I was busy, and I was like, you know what, you're the expert, you handle it, you're the coach here, tell me what to do, and I'll support you. But it should have been a more collaborative effort on my part.
I think the collaboration is a big part, right? So maybe they didn't have, the right approach, and maybe what they were going to do was just not going to work out. Maybe they just weren't the right person for the job. But I think collaboration is a big thing too, and I do the same thing. If we use other resources to try to generate lead opportunities, whatever, and I think sometimes you get used to, hey, I'm paying this person, they should do it. At least that's what I do. But I think the collaboration definitely helps no matter what, right? If you have somebody if you hire somebody internally, if you outsource somebody, no matter what, don't leave them on an island to make, to do it,
Yeah.
figure out everything themselves, right? Really figure out a partnership, whether it's internal or external. Either way, make them feel like they're part of the team and something bigger.
Yeah, I mean that's leadership, and I've worked on a lot
Mm-hmm.
of that this year. It's you lead yourself first, you lead your team. If you're working with freelancers, if you're working with 1099 independent sales reps, like you have to lead people, and you don't assume that you're all going to be on the same page. So yeah, that comes down to leadership for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the salespeople, that's another good example, right? No matter how you're paying them, if they're running their own business still, I mean, I feel like the more you connect with them and make them feel like part of the team and show appreciation for their success, and that, I mean, that's another one too, right? Show appreciation for success, especially if it's somebody internally.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we it's December 1st right now. We had a huge November, and this morning I'm like just on our Slack channel, our team Slack channel, just praising our team and sharing my gratitude, and like that goes a long way. Obviously, everyone's making money and doing great, but that those little bits of praise, like, hey, like this is a team effort, like this is like we crushed it.
Goes a long way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's wow, that's a different topic altogether is sales reps, but there's a big problem with like turnover as far as sales reps in the
Huge.
construction and roofing industry. And I think a lot of owners can take more ownership in that and lead their team and train them and collaborate with them better. And they'll have much more long-term success.
Get the people excited about what they're doing, right? I mean, it's not easy. It doesn't matter who you are. It's not easy to get out of bed, right, and have it every single day, right? So if you have a leader that makes you and gives you a little pep in the step, I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
One thing I'm kind of interested in is like at a budget standpoint. I mean, what do you think? Traditional versus digital. Should majority go to digital, all of it, 50-50? Where's your head at with that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Do you mind if I hop back to your original question, which I didn't really answer, which was like the training thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, sorry about that.
No. I think I took us in a different direction, but
It was good though. It was good.
you had asked like, did we always like anticipate getting into training or did we do services? And I want to share the story because it's relevant for everyone listening, watching. We for 7 years we ran a full service agency, so like building websites, running ads, like blog posting, SEO, all that stuff. We did all that stuff for our clients. And what we started seeing at like 2018, 2019, in those years, were the clients that were having the best success with the work that we were doing for them were the ones that, again, here's the word collaboration, like the ones that were collaborating with us. Like they were getting us content, they were getting on the phone with us,
Mm-hmm.
they're reviewing, like giving us feedback on the quality of the leads and how many of those were turning into appointments. And they actually had a tracking system for tracking those conversion rates and where their ROI was. And so those were, a select few of our great clients who were involved in getting great results. And then we had a bunch of other clients who, they were paying us every month to do our work, but it was really hard for us to do the work for them. Especially when it comes to social media advertising, you need content, you need videos and photos,
Mm-hmm.
like that. So what we started doing is we started developing training content to help our clients be better clients. Like here's how to take a picture. Like literally, here's how to go to a job site and like take a picture with your phone. Here's how to shoot a video. Here's how to whatever. Like helping them be better clients. And then we saw the value in that, and then we kind of rolled that into a full-blown training program. And then at the end of 2019, completely shifted our model to where we no longer provide any done-for-you services. we focus 100% on training. So we train roofing companies on how to do their own marketing. And so the reason that's important for anyone, for the audience, is like, that's what it takes these days. We're getting into 2022 right now. Like, that's what it takes. If you want to succeed with advertising, you can no longer say, you know what, I'm so busy as a business owner, I'm wearing so many hats, I just want to pay Nick or whoever to make my phone ring and produce magic leads. Like, that just, it doesn't work. You've got to be involved. You've got to be out there, like, producing some of your own content, sharing your projects, sharing your photos, building your own brand, and generating business through your brand, not just generating a whole bunch of random leads from people who have no idea who you are. So that's critical.
I mean, that's pretty spot on. And it's the exact same thing with us, right? We have some clients that are, we have great communication with, and I feel like the relationship grows, our understanding of their business and, what's working well for them, what's not working well for them, everything like that. We should get a better understanding of all that information, and I think that helps us now in our program, not only for just that client, but also anybody that we're working with. So, and it's one of our core values at Summa too, communication, right? It doesn't matter if it's internal with our team or with clients or whatever it might be. Communication is a great way to make sure everything's going smoothly, and you're maximizing your money, and whether it's internal or external. So communicate, right? Collaboration, communication. We're going through like all these different core values over here. That's actually 2 of our core values right there. I like where your head's at, Joseph. I'm vibing it for sure.
Nice. I like it. Alignment right here.
Yeah, alignment. So let's say that someone is going to hire somebody internal. I think there's a lot of responsibilities on the individual, right? So that you were looking for someone who's talented, is very accountable, and like that. What kind of personality traits or knowledge should they be looking for when they're bringing somebody internally? What does that look like?
Sure. So again, I'd like to preface this by saying you don't have to reach a certain revenue level to afford like an in-house marketing person, right? Some of our clients they're still looking to get to that $1 or $2 million a year mark, and they have a full-time in-person marketing manager, in-house marketing manager rather. And so if you're going to invest, say, 30 to 60K a year into a marketing manager, depending on your structure, where you are in the country, like that sort of thing, full-time, part-time, ideally full-time. And that person is properly trained, ideally by us, little plug. If they're properly trained, they'll know what they're doing. Like, they're going to drive a lot of new business, right? Not just the online stuff, but like going out into the community, into events and networking meetings and building relationships with, property owners and property management companies and things like that. That business development / marketing role is a huge position. So what to look for in that role? If you want, like I wrote a pretty comprehensive guide on this. I can share that in the, when this is published if you want.
Absolutely.
But yeah, sure. And in terms of who to look for, you're not going to find a unicorn, right? You're not going to find this person that knows.
Yeah, what's a unicorn? What's a unicorn too, for those who don't know?
A unicorn is like this mythological creature that is like just, perfect in every area. There aren't many of them out there. And if they are, like, you're going to pay,
you're going to pay a pretty penny.
You're going to pay them more than you're paying yourself as an owner. So,
yeah,
you're not going to find that person that knows Google ads, that's, a beast with Facebook ads, that
SEO, design, video,
stuff, right? So what you're looking for is someone that has maybe a little bit of experience, ideally from outside the roofing industry, because they can bring some fresh perspective. They can look at the roofing industry and be like, man, like, let's bring this dinosaur of a company into like the modern era. And they can do some things. They can run some content. They can work with their sales team to teach them like how to take pictures, how to do videos. And they can also, this in-house person can also be like the air traffic controller, where they're working with, maybe you have like, you're hiring out your Google ads, or maybe you're hiring out SEO, or maybe you have someone else doing, what Summa Media does and doing some of the outreach and things like that. But you have that in-house person playing air traffic controller. That's not you as the owner, because you're wearing lots of other hats, and they're making sure that everything's running smoothly, and they're driving results, and they're tracking as well. So that person doesn't need a ton of experience. They just need the proper training from you, and any online resources or training that you can get them into.
And I think, you said a variety of ways of how you could hire internally. One was, someone doing the work. One was more of a facilitator of having other people that they're kind of managing. You're gonna be looking for different personalities on both of those, right? One, you might be looking for someone who's super marketing minded. The person who's doing the management might be actually a better manager, organized, accountable and stuff like that. So it's really going to depend on, how you utilize them, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, sure. And
Mm.
I mean, as far as like bringing it down to ground level, we've got we've got clients who they have their sons or daughters, in the business, like either part time or full time doing the marketing thing. We even have a client in Florida who they're so busy right now. He's got his mother doing the social media. She's in our program,
Hmm.
like learning how to do Facebook ads, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is
Um,
cool.
Spouses, what, like, even if it's I don't recommend it, but like if you have an office admin person that does some other things and he or she can dedicate 10 hours a week to marketing, like that can be a good temporary solution as well. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't recommend it because usually that office admin person is going to fill their week with like more urgent things like collecting money or answering the phone or pumping out estimates, and marketing usually gets thrown to the bottom of that pile, just what we've seen. So ideally have someone that's dedicated to this stuff. Yeah.
Hmm. I would say that the people that we work best with is usually somebody who has, like, I don't know if it's necessarily marketing, but some kind of facilitator, right? That
Yeah.
that is kind of responsible for handling, whatever we send over or communicating with us on things they want to do, and a lot of those people with the good communication usually send us like cool content ideas too. Like that's not one of our main things, but people that work with us for a while, start doing some other stuff that's a little bit different, some of it is social, and they'll always throw us cool ideas. Santa Claus at for the local community for like 38 years. So he made this video pretty much saying how he always feels better when he goes on top of a far high roof, right? And I was loving that, and the guy did a great job with Santa. Stuff like that. To really maximize what you're doing for the community to build up your brand and stuff like that. It's very difficult for an agency to do that without knowing that kind of stuff is going on.
Yeah, I mean it's almost impossible unless that agency like literally flies out or comes to your location and like does it for you. Uh
Hmm.
yeah, I mean it's yeah, that's hard stuff to do, and those are the types of things that you need to do these days to cut through all the noise that's out there. So you got to get a
Hmm.
little bit creative. You can't just do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, don't be afraid to show a little personality. It doesn't always have to be about roofing, right?
Oh yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Yeah.
Change it up a little
Show
bit.
like
Change it up a little bit.
like share stories to your people, like, if you're doing team
Hmm.
events, anything that you can share on social media that shows that you're a legit company, right? Because like you're legit, you're legit,
Hmm.
but someone out there who might have been referred to you or seen your, maybe a truck or an ad, like they don't know if you're like a legit company or if you're just a guy in the basement, doing a roof here and there. So
Hmm.
put out there that shows your legitimacy is going to help to build trust in your market and give people a sense of comfort that they need to reach out to you, because that's what people
Hmm.
want. They don't say it all the time, like, I don't need to hire the best roofer in Denver to do my roof, right? I want to hire someone that I feel comfortable with, that is
Yeah.
risk free, that I know is not going to be a bad decision. And I need to hire, I need to feel comfortable about that. So
Hmm.
that needs to get across.
That's why I like video so much, too. Is I feel like it's so much easier to build that front end rapport, before meeting with prospects and stuff like that to build that trust, and it
Mhm.
changes that sales environment, right? If they already heard your voice and know what you sound like and what your personality is like, I think it lowers that wall that you kind of have to break through sometimes.
Oh yeah, like if for anyone listening or watching who does video already, like you know how it works. You show up to that prospect's house or the building or what the meeting, wherever it is, and they're, maybe not pre-sold, but they're predisposed to wanting to work with you, right? There's
Hmm.
less selling that you have to do. It's more at that point, building that relationship, building that rapport, making them feel comfortable, and then you're not selling as much. You're just kind of facilitating that transaction or that project or solving that problem for them.
Hmm. And then the lead's a little bit more qualified too, because they already heard what you're all about, and they still called you. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit more of a qualified lead too.
Oh yeah,
Now
huge.
So we were kind of talking a little bit. This previous question I had before we got off track was the traditional versus digital. You know, is traditional still working? Should you be pumping some money in there? What are we looking at between the split there?
Yeah, sure. Like traditional meaning like offline.
Yeah, so direct mail and things like that, radio, TV.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, we focus on digital and social. That's kind of our heavy focus. But I'm never the guy to be like, oh, if you're doing billboards, like you're in the Stone Ages, like all that stuff works. There's never one right answer.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way that I like to frame this is, if your job in say 2022 as an owner, as a company, is to get 100,000 people in your market to see your brand 3 to 4 times each over the course of the year, like how are you going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
A big thing is going to be this thing right here, because the average American adult spends 4 hours a day on their smartphone, including 2 hours a day on social media, according to Inc. magazine. So like
Mm-hmm.
that's where the attention is.
I just heard about 300 days of scrolling or 300 feet of scrolling a day we do with our fingers.
Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy. I might do like more like a mile. I don't know.
Yeah, you're pretty quick. You're pretty quick. I know that. I know you're a runner, so you're probably pretty quick.
No, so that's gonna be a big one, right? Because that's where the attention is. However, like, man, I'd be quick to put my banners up at all the little league fields and the football fields in town, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd want to pay to not just be one of the many banners in the outfield. Like I want to cover like the dugout,
Mm-hmm.
because people are going to see that over and over again. It's your yard signs. Yes. Direct mail, wrapping your trucks. It's, if you have an equipter, wrap that equipter. If you have the catch-all, get your branding on that catch-all.
Mm-hmm.
All those little things. Absolutely.
Eyeballs, right? Eyeballs.
Oh, eyeballs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Putting your logo on like the local chamber of commerce website. I don't think that's a great one, because you're like one of
Nah.
many. Anytime you can
No one
be,
sees it, I feel like. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
our local little league, like the marketing package is like, you can have your banner at the field, and then for an extra whatever, we'll put your logo on the website. It's like no one's going to the website, but everyone's going to
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
the, like
100%.
anytime you could be one of one instead of like one of many, then that's a win, in my opinion, because they're seeing your brand. You're not just one in a sea of logos or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's all it all goes together. You don't have to do everything, but if you're small business, you're limited in terms of bandwidth and budget and resources, then definitely social, digital. But that the offline stuff helps to build that trust and credibility for sure.
Mm-hmm. What about okay, so in 2000, what is it, 2021 now? The years keep flying by, especially during this whole COVID thing. 2021, right? You're educating roofing contractors on digital marketing strategies, how to do it internally inside their company. From the feedback you got from your clients, what are some of the favorite things that you taught them? Is there any kind of lead sources or things? Is it Facebook ads, Google ads? Is there something that stands out?
Man, let's see. So we primarily focus on social media advertising. So that would be Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Not just advertising, but the content calendar. If you're pumping out, 5, 10 pieces of content a week, whatever that is, and then ads. So like
Mm-hmm.
targeting neighborhoods, targeting specific types of property owners for commercial, that sort of thing. So we train our clients on how to run their own ads and generate their own appointments and sales. And like when a client gets to that point where they create a piece of content, they create an ad that generates an appointment, that turns into a sale, that adds revenue to the business, that's kind of a big light bulb moment where like, oh wow, like I can do this. Now I have the tools to run my ads whenever, wherever I want, and generate business with a level of predictability. So like
Mm-hmm.
that's huge. That's awesome. The social thing. I mean, that's something that you can start today on your own, and you can be generating revenue within the next few weeks, right? Say 2 to 4 weeks realistically. I mean, you can do it
Mm-hmm.
in 2 to 4 days if you know what you're doing, but it's realistically going to take a little bit of testing and figuring some things out. So you can do that pretty quickly. So that's the social end of things. That's very, very powerful. And then as far as the search end of things, Google Maps is huge. The ability to show up in those top 3 Google Maps results That's awesome. There's a lot that you can do yourself for free on optimizing and continuing to optimize your profile, getting reviews and things like that. So Google Maps is absolutely huge. Google Ads works very well as well. That's something that's a little bit more difficult to DIY. That can get very expensive very quickly, especially if you don't know what you're doing there. So I usually recommend that companies outsource their Google Ads. They understand how it works well enough to like work with an agency on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can collaborate. But as far as DIY, I mean, yes, yeah, Facebook ads, Google Maps, those are two of the big ones that our clients are seeing a lot of success with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with the Facebook ads, right? I think that's a great talking point for today. How does it change your approach in terms of a budget and everything like that? And when there's a storm versus just, maybe it's roofing season, but we're not anything with storms, no storms.
Sure. So, and we work I would say we're 50-50 as far as our clientele being storm restoration and retail. So we see it all. And we have a lot of clients that do both. But at the end of the day, all of our clients are building a local brand and getting people in their market to know who they are. They're not chasing around, just storms around the country. And so what was your specific question? What?
Facebook ad strategy during storm versus no storm.
Yeah. So a lot of the audience has tried Facebook ads, whether it's been on their own, whether they've outsourced it to a marketer or an agency. And a lot of people have probably seen like pretty bad results or no results. And most of the time, that's because you're trying to generate a lead from someone who has no idea who you are, aka a stranger that sees you as just another roofing company that I want to get a quote from. And regardless of whether it's Facebook ads or any other type of marketing, like that's still a cold lead. That's still an uphill battle. You still have to do a ton of work to take that person from a stranger to someone that knows you and sees your value, to someone who appreciates your value, to someone that wants to work with you. And so, Facebook is not a leads ATM. It's not like I'm going to put $100 in, I'm going to get 5 leads out of it. It's not how it works. So the foundation is the brand building content. It's the everyday content that you're putting out there to get people to know who you are. And then the ads are fuel on that fire, right? You got to have that fire going. You got to have reviews. You got to have your content going out there consistently. And then when you run an ad, that can be in a tight geographic 1 mile radius. That can be to your whole city. It can be, different zip codes. You can really get pretty dialed in with the targeting. And then you're putting out some sort of offer. Now, an offer does not have to be like a free upgrade or giving stuff away or discounts. We don't really endorse that, I guess. The offer
no discounts.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to. If you do a good enough job at building a brand and getting people to know who you are, simply putting out there like, hey, we can help you if you have an older roof. I don't want to get too far into like scripting out an ad or anything like that, but that's where you're going to generate leads from people who have seen you a few times. And now they're seeing like, oh yeah, I do have a problem. I do want this company to help me solve it. Because when you're putting your ads out there, like you never know who's going to be ready to who has an older roof, who's finally ready to get it taken care of, or who's got some damage and they finally have a few spare minutes in their busy life to reach out to you. So
I mean, think about if you meet somebody for the first time, think about how you treat them versus once you hung out with them 5 times, right? Their relationship has grown. So the way you communicate to them, talk to them is completely changed. So now instead of asking for that conversion on that first touch point, like focus on those impressions, right? Before just trying to convert them. Otherwise you just convert them. It's just like, it's a little aggressive almost when you say it, right?
Yeah. And here's a cool way to think about it. As a business owner, we all know when we get leads in for our own businesses, like I know, like when there's a cold lead that comes in, there's one way that I think about that. Okay, that's a cold lead. When I see a lead come in from someone that I know has like engaged with our content, maybe they've been in our CRM for months. Like, dude, like that's
money. That's gonna be a good meeting.
As a business owner and our sales team, like we want that, right? We don't.
Yeah.
not to say we don't want the cold leads, but like we prefer the warm ones. So just as a business owner, we prefer that someone has interacted with our stuff before they reach out. That's what your prospects want too. They want to interact with you before they're ready to make a decision. So that's how we all make decisions these days. So you gotta have those touch points. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you just need to make sure that you're nurturing that individual, right? Building that rapport a little bit, even if it's online, and then from there, focusing on conversions. Do
Yeah.
you? Oh, go
No, go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you're
No,
good,
I
man.
mean,
Run with it.
share your video content, share your, everything, put yourself, it doesn't have to be yourself as the owner, but as a company, like build that brand, get people to know who you are. Yeah, absolutely. And then when you put out your offers, you're going to generate much warmer leads. And that's the formula. So, if you've tried Facebook ads in the past and they haven't worked, that's likely the reason. It's not that Facebook ads suck or that Facebook ads don't work. They do work. Absolutely. You just haven't figured out the right formula for you.
Do you have a preference on keeping it in the ad internal into Facebook, where it's like the lead page is internally in the lead forms in Facebook, or having your own landing page, or does it not matter too much?
Either way, our clients do a mix of both. I mean, the low barrier to entry there is to use that Facebook lead generation ad, the form right there in Facebook or Instagram. However, we definitely encourage you to build out landing pages as well and test a couple different things out. But yeah, both work. Some people are going to want to. Some prospects will feel comfortable right there putting their info in on Facebook, especially if they've seen your content a few times, and then they see your ad. Like, yeah, I already know these guys. Like, I don't need to go to a landing page to read more about them. I've already seen that. I've already seen their videos and their reviews and things like that. I just want to enter my info. I'm good to go. And then there's other people that might not be as familiar with you. They're going to need a little bit more to make them feel comfortable. So send them to a landing page, give them the option. They can see some videos, maybe your process, read more about who you are and why you're different, things like that. So yeah, the answer is both. Yeah.
Which one would you be more likely to fill out? A lead form that's internal into Facebook, or a landing page if you were a buyer?
If I were a buyer, like,
If you were going through with that, would you fill out a lead form intern Facebook, or a landing page? Which one would you be more likely to fill out, you think?
Man, that's a good question. Let me think on that for a second.
I think for me, I think it'd be the website, but I don't know. Because I think the website has another opportunity to kind of sell it again more, right? Or what would you think? Like, what do you think the benefits of a landing page versus the lead form?
So that would be actually all right. Yes.
This is a good question. This is one I really haven't thought about.
No, I would say website, landing page. That would be the way that I want to do things. I like to do my research, see what the brand looks like. I'm going to go to their social media channels, check out what's going on. And yeah, so that's me. However, there's a lot of data, especially with Google Maps, Google Profile these days. There's a lot of data that supports the zero-click search, which means I'm going to search for a roofing company in Loveland, Colorado, and I'm going to go to that Google profile, or I'm going to look at those maps results, and I'm going to see enough there, because these days your Google profile is almost like a mini website. So there's enough information there for me to make a decision without clicking on any of the search results and going to any website. So the way that I would go to the website, but there is a lot of data that supports that zero-click search, and that's huge.
Well, I think it's easier to fill out those lead forms, to be honest with you, that are internally in Facebook, but maybe they might not be as qualified, because I think sometimes you can even auto-populate them. So it's like all they have to do is literally hit enter. But I think if someone wants to get more educated and whatnot, that landing page can kind of give them some more social proof and information about the promotion or whatever it might be. One thing is, you mentioned the Google My Business. Google My Business is very interesting. I mean, like you're saying, there's almost enough information there to convert to if you're doing an online search, but it's crazy. Some profiles now can do the get a quote button on the Google My Business page. So literally they can just click on get a quote on your Google My Business because they saw that you had 300 5-star reviews. And then that just goes straight to your email with their phone number and email address and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's the get a quote, book an appointment, send a message through Google profile. Like there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of conversion options there to get people to convert right there for sure. A lot of people don't
Mm-hmm.
know about that. And then what's cool is you can look at Google Insights and you can see how many people visited your website from your Google profile, how many people asked for directions, which is probably not going to be many. How many people requested information or booked an appointment. So you can see the behavior of people, what they're doing, how they're interacting with your business.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well,
free.
yeah, and that's free, right? So that, just make sure you're maximizing that. Well, Joseph, thank you so much for joining us. One last thing though, so if someone wants to get in contact with you to learn more about Contractor and Dynamics and how it can help their roofing company grow, what's the best way to do so?
I would say go to contractordynamics.com, our website. There's some free training videos on there. You can set up a call with one of our team members if you want. And also, if you're not ready to hop on the phone, I totally get it. We want you to, I practice what I preach, right? I want you to interact with our videos and content and whatnot before you reach out. So go to our website, check out our social channels. We post every day, multiple pieces of content a day. We've got a podcast, a YouTube channel, a lot of educational stuff. So check some
Which
of that
one's your
stuff out.
favorite? Which one's your favorite? Is it YouTube? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Is it the podcast? What is it for your own content?
Favorite would
Yeah.
be, let's see. I mean, Facebook and YouTube. I mean, Facebook,
Yeah.
I post every day. That's where a lot of our market is. But YouTube's a sleeper, man. Because the thing about YouTube is you can put out like we're getting views on videos I published 2 years ago. So it's evergreen, right? You put up a video on your YouTube
Mm-hmm.
channel, and you get people that are finding it through search and through other channels, and that's just a machine that just generates interest and views and leads and dollars.
And I
So
think that's a great way to put it too, is because with like Facebook or whatever it might be, that might not resurface as often. But with YouTube, based off of being search related, that thing can pop up for someone's search at any time for years and years and years.
yeah, and like for your business and my business, that's huge. But also for any roofing or contracting company, do that same
Hmm.
thing. Do that same thing, and yeah, that's powerful.
I think YouTube's the most, and what before we close, I think YouTube is the most underutilized in for roofers. I think.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Hmm.
And what's cool is like you can take those YouTube videos, you can embed them on your website. You can have a video
Hmm.
library on your website. You can use those videos if they're educational. Use those in your sales process to better educate your prospects and to differentiate yourself. There's multiple uses you can get out of like a quick 2 or 3 minute video.
Hmm. Well, Joseph, thank you so much for joining me, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, brother. Great to be here. Thanks so much. Great questions, and I enjoyed our conversation.